Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the NuStep and the mechanics of it. But even before I get to there, I want to say I was looking at the website and I looked at In the News, and there's a number of newspaper clippings and whatnot in there. And sure enough, Caledonia, Minnesota, where I work, the Argus, a local newspaper, you have a picture of me on the NuStep in, I believe it's 2010. So that was a little surprising, kind of neat to see. So anyways, getting back to this NuStep, as a therapist, I'm kind of unique in the fact that before I was in physical therapy, I went to school and I was 29 years old. For the 10 years prior to that, I worked as an electromechanical technician working in industry on higher level equipment that required a lot of expertise and high quality to keep the equipment going, because if a piece of equipment went down, at an industrial site, the whole line shut down, costing the company thousands of dollars. So I got to work with a lot of top quality equipment. And I can tell you from that point, looking inside of this, how this is built. It's built well. There's no plastic bushings in this. They're ball bearings. Okay, they actually have a disc in there that looks like a disc from a vehicle that uses the resistance, and the resistance arm goes right to that, and it changes the resistance very smoothly, and it works so well. There's a flywheel in there that keeps some inertia going, and that's why it works so smooth. I haven't talked to the engineers yet, but this is the way it appears to me. And moreover than everything that I look at it as, it lasts. I've had mine, I got a 4000 just like this for 6 years now, and I've had no problems with it. It works as well as the day I have it, and there's absolutely no exaggeration with that. I really enjoy this machine. It's built well, and it's built right in the US of A. Okay, here I am again. I have someone working with me here today, but this section I'm talking to NuStep, particularly the engineers and the people in manufacturing, just to give you some feedback from a therapist who's been working with your equipment for the last 6 years extensively. Couple things that would really make life much easier for me as a therapist working with someone that has lower extremity weakness, tightness, or contractures. Okay, and that is once we get them in the chair and we rotate them, okay, and they have weak legs, this is what the kind of thing that happens. I'll get in here and the person might be grabbing for the handrest here, and this will start going back, and I'll start to help them get the leg in, and I can't get this footrest is in the leg, and this happens, and I get in here, I try to hold this strong, and then this goes forward, and then I finally get that up in there, and then I go like this, and my back is hurting, and then this kind of clunks this way, and sometimes it hits you in the head right there, and I finally get the foot in there, but then I can't keep the foot up. Let's go on this side and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We'll get it up here, and there's a lip here that's only this long. And don't get me wrong, I love these machines, but this is a part that really needs some work. And oftentimes, if they don't have shoes on, or they can't get shoes on because they're too swollen, their foot will drop down, okay? And oftentimes, we need to get it up, and if we just had a little bit bigger lip here, or perhaps a little pivot, I know the next mile up does have a pivot, so it's plantar flex and dorsiflex, but something for the 4000 just to make that foot stay on there better. And a really big benefit would be as if you could lock this in place so it's not wobbling all over the place when you're trying to get someone in that has leg weakness. Okay, the other thing is when you're trying to move this thing, these things are moving back and forth. If you could lock this in mechanically, I know you got a disc in there with pads on there for resistance. Maybe you could work it there so you could lock it at any position, or perhaps mechanical lock where you could lock it in at a neutral position, or perhaps here or here. One way or another, if this could be locked in, we had a little bigger step here to hold the foot in, be really helpful and save some backs for the therapist. Okay, another suggestion. These are small points, but a lot of times the small things make big sales. The armrest, if they could come out a little bit farther. Oftentimes people reach back, and because they are so much shorter than the chair, it's not a real functional length. if these could be longer, it would be of much more value as far as the therapy and safety as well, because people reach back and they can't get them and they'll miss them or can't even find them, and then they lose their balance, and of course naturally we're there with a gait belt to help them bring down. But that's a little thing that would be helpful. The next thing is, if you looked at my other section on how I treat patients, I like to keep them independent. Okay, I actually teach them how to use the machine, so by the time they've used it 3 or 4 times, they know how to go forward and backwards and rotate the seat independently. Okay, if these had a lever or arm that was out farther, so Bob, can you reach down there? A lot of times, now Bob's a tall man, he's 6'6", but if you have someone that's 5'2" or 5'0", they can't reach down here. They're fumbling around looking for it, so then I just do it. It's not a big deal, but it really gives more independence for the shorter people or people that don't have the range of motion to find this, to reach it, to get the rotation, because it's such a nice option to have for getting out as opposed to just pivoting on the seat without the motion. The front one is easier to work with, but that also could be out a little bit further. A lot of times I have people that their arms are just too short and they got to reach down, and it's difficult for them to do this, and especially the front one for that forward and backwards motion. I like them to be independent with that so that they can adjust it to their fitting, because a lot of times I want it to make it feel comfortable for them, not what my perspective looks like. So just another couple options. Also, the shifter here, again, if it came out and up a little bit perhaps, it's hard to reach. That's not a real big deal, but that would be helpful too. Just some little tidbits that make your product a little bit better, and it'd make my life a little easier at work as well. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Bob Schrupp, and I'm also a physical therapist, and I just wanted to confirm what Brad said about the arms moving when trying to work with somewhat disabled patients or patients that don't have enough strength to get on here by themselves. They do end up being a problem. I want to make sure that you know that this isn't just some minor problem, that Brad is the only one that's encountering this. I've used the NuStep with, I would guess over 1,000 patients, and I have run into that quite often, where the arms are moving when you're trying to get the patient on there, and it's actually can be dangerous, and would be such an improvement if the arms would lock in place.